So Jared has an issue like a lot of you guys might have. Let's just take your setup there, Bob, where the grip starts to get too weak. And when we say too weak, that means turned counterclockwise. So this, let's keep your left hand on, take that off for a second. This on the club could turn more counterclockwise. That would be even more weak, that'd be bad. You're too far this way. I'm exaggerating here a little bit. This would be clockwise, which would be what we would call stronger, right? So there are a couple of ways to reference this, but one of the ways would be if we look at the V between the thumb and index finger, that V we want to have sit somewhere between like your trail ear and shoulder, let's say like collarbone territory. For you, that's going to need to feel like it's turned more clockwise than normal. See how even your whole arm has to turn a little bit, right, compared to normal. Now, all things equal, when you turn your grip like that, that's going to serve to make the club face more closed relative to if you did everything else the same, which would mean the ball would go less to the right, which would be the primary thing. Now, if you do everything else in your swing the same, and all we change is this one, the grip for the club face, we want to eliminate a big miss, right? When you guys are practicing, if let's say you're hitting balls like Jared or me, and we're going left, right, left, right, left, right, we kind of have to pick one of those. Like, hey, let's get rid of right. You're still gonna hit some left to start with till we bring it in. But when you're like, hey, am I doing this right or not? What's a sign of success? It'd be eliminate one side of it. How we're doing that is by making the club face less open with the grip. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let's go through the grip and just make a couple of swings here. Obviously your left hand's gonna feel like it's turned more clockwise there. So this little V here sits over here. You might notice this little snuff box, baseball guy, I don't know. So in here, that should sit behind the center of the shaft. So to our left side or your right side of the shaft. If it was too weak, you see that snuff box is over here, right, on this side of the shaft. So either one of those is what you would feel. So that's gonna feel like that hand is turned more. Now let's bring your right hand down to match that. And then basically, you can do whatever you feel comfortable with your fingers there, but this needs to stay over here. And this right hand will probably feel a little bit more under like that. So your whole hands, if you kind of did one of these jobs here, and you guys can try this too, if you had your hands out in front of you, let me borrow the club. Let's say your thumbs are straight forward towards like 12, do this with me. We want your grip to be, let's say straight as 12 o'clock, turn them clockwise to the right to about 2 o'clock. So see how turned your hands are there. That's more what I want your setup to feel like. Okay. So your arms feel like they're turned this way more, right? In swing, they're gonna go the opposite way, right? Just like a baseball swing, they're gonna go that way. And so the more we set them up to the right at setup, then the more we can take advantage of that during the downswing to close the club face angle. Sounds good. Let's do this for a second. Now, obviously, like any of you guys, if you're changing your grip, if you have a weaker grip, just like Jared's gonna go through here right now, is it's gonna feel different, right? And potentially weird. Sometimes how you hold the club can feel the weirdest right there like that, good. So let's just do a couple practice swings where you hit the mat with your hand there, and we'll start to get a little bit more used to that. And what we would expect to happen here is less to the right, more to the left. Now, the thing I want you to do is reset that every single time and make sure that gets turned over there enough. Good, so it's gonna turn more than you want to. Good, awesome, right like that. And this arm's gonna feel just a little straighter at setup. How straight can you go with that? Yeah, closer to that, there we go. Same thing, just make a couple swings here to feel the mat. The little stickler thing you have to do, which is a pain in the butt, is you every time, yeah, like re-grip it. Yeah, exactly. Good, left arm straight, hands are turned. Now, as you swing, talk me through some of what that feels like to you.
I feel like the club's flatter on the ground, at least from my arm, and then I feel like the swing is more so in my left hand than in my right, if that makes sense. Like it feels like I got to work harder to get that way coming down.
Do you have any sense when you're swinging, like, oh, the face feels more open, more closed, the same?
Honestly, I feel it when I'm at the top the most. Like I sometimes get to the top and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But I don't have the ability to, I mean, it's hard to stop it once you get to
once
the top,
you're there,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? But I can pretty much feel in the tempo and where my hands are. Just from, I feel like playing baseball, I have a pretty good idea of where my hands will be just for.
And how about since we switched the grip, is it like, oh, this feels more closed, more open, the same, or no different?
It definitely feels more closed. And like I said, I don't know if it's just the way, you know, being different, but.
Yeah, and it should feel more closed.
More in this arm.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like.
I think that's just because we're putting hyper awareness on it. Yeah. So when if you miss the ball to the right, and high and weak to the right, the first thing you have to understand, especially if it curves right, is the face is too open. Club face is too open. So we have to change that. And then it's like, why is it open? How do I change it? I would always check the grip first. I have had a weaker grip pattern. You might have a weaker grip pattern if you struggle with that. We want to get that V to the trail collarbone and sort of X that off the board. Like, okay, I'm done with that. Now it's still going the right. What's going on? Oh, well, you're also doing number 2, which is the wrist is too cupped. Okay, boom. And just start checking things off the board a little bit. So what I would do and what we're going to do is we're going to hit probably 2 or 3 shots. I want to make sure your grip is good like that. We would expect to see the ball go more left or less right, as an indication there. And then we can start to check that off. Okay, what do we do next, right? What's after that? So let's do 2 or 3 shots with the grip turned stronger. And I'm going to make sure it's good each time. Yeah, that a boy, good. Excellent job. So the grip feels stronger. The arm's gonna feel like it's just a little bit straighter compared to normal. I'm just gonna go a little bit more to exaggerate that, a boy, good. So that thumb's over there, that right hand, that a boy, good. Go ahead and wrap that. Good, so that should to you probably feel like, whoa, this is gonna go left. Okay. That looks about beautiful. It doesn't really matter how you hit this one. The goal is just to make the swing with that new grip on there. Excellent. As expected, to the left. It's like we've done this before. Okay, let's do that one more time. To eliminate the rights, it's okay to see the ball go the other way. In fact, you want to see the ball go the other way. Good, that thumb's gonna stay there. Wrap that right hand under. Good, that a boy. You wrap that where you feel comfortable. Right about there's good. And then the same thing, left arm feels straight. And you're just gonna swing like that. Wherever it goes, it goes. The goal is the swing. Beautiful job with that. Excellent. Solid shot, compressed, left. So 2 for 2, no rights. Let's see if we can do the trifecta. So your job again is the grip turns to attaboy. Good. Good. The arm's gonna feel straight. Hands gonna feel a little more forward compared to normal. Attababy. Good. That's awesome. Great job. Perfect. So 3 for 3 to the left. Now, let's say you're like, all right, dude, that's cool. I missed to the right. Like, what do we do beyond that, right? Because we want to eliminate 2-way misses, but then we also want to take the 1-way miss we have and bring that in. So imagine you normally have an open club face, right? And so let's just use like an opening and closing a door analogy, right? So if Jared has an open club face, and let's say during the backswing, you really open the door a lot, just call it 10 degrees, just to put a number on it, which means that during the downswing, to have any chance to hit at the target, you need to close it a lot, 10 degrees. So old swing, right, is open a lot, close a lot. Now we change the grip. So it's not opening at all anymore going back. So let's just say it's 0, but you're still closing it 10 degrees like you used to. And so now that'll go left. So what do you do about that? What's the solution? Well, we don't go back to the old bad grip, right? We keep the new good grip in. We keep the club face from opening, theoretically. And now we just don't have to close it as much. Now, do you do that all in a 20-minute lesson? Probably not, okay? You probably get used to the grip first. Every time I've ever changed my grip, and if you guys change it, it always takes me like 30 days. So like what I would do if I were you is I'd kind of have a club, by me. If you're changing your grip, have a club by you, put it on, set it back down, put it on, set it back down. Just like, maybe 5 minutes a day type of thing for 30 days. That would start to feel more comfortable. The longer period of time you give yourself to do the first thing, the easier the second thing is.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So we're not gonna do 7 things today, but the next step of this would be, okay, how do I not shut the door as much? But if we were working together and like looking at it every day, I'd say, dude, keep hitting it left. And I bet if we stood here and we hit 100 balls, and if you guys are practicing this, we hit 3. On ball 10, I bet you'd start to kind of, hey, subconsciously change some things through the ball. Because when we look at the video, and we can show this on there, where it goes too far this way, all that's closing the club face.
Right.
So then we could start to not have to do that. Then you wouldn't have to do the standing up so much, right? So there's some other little things that I would talk to you about a long term about, like you go a little bit too far forward on the way back. There's a little bit of work to do with the wrist hinging. But first things first is club face angle, right? First things first. So let's just do 1 or 2 more with that same piece in there. Then we'll have a discussion on these part 2 pieces. Yeah, good. Excellent job, right about there. So notice each time I'm moving the hands forward. When you guys take your setup, if we looked at the angle of the shaft, I'd like to see it leaning slightly forward. We have an 8-iron. I would say hands inside of lead thigh. So inside of left thigh would be good. The arm should be relatively close to straight. It doesn't need to be locked straight. It could be. But what do we not want? Like at impact, what I don't want, a terrible impact would be the handle back, the arm very bent. wrist real cupped like this. That's gonna go no good. A good impact would be the handle forward, the arm fairly straight, right? So we're just sort of presetting some of those pieces in there, yeah. So hands inside left thigh, V towards, let's say, collarbone, left arm fairly straight. If your task list was knock those out in 30 days, you'd be 20 to 30% of the way there already, just with those couple things. So let's just do one or two more with that. Grip is turned strong, handles forward, arms straight. That's a beautiful job. Just gonna turn you a little bit more. Good. Excellent job. Wrap that right hand on there. Good. Awesome job. Great job with the setup. Excellent. So same thing, solid contact, probably a 5 to 10 yard draw. Now it's way left in terms of the overall ball flight, but the actual flight of it is what we want, right? That sort of maybe 5 to 10 yard draw. We just need to take that and have it start over here more, right? So from a ball flight perspective, I would now say, hey, let's look at that for a minute. Let me throw this in here. And what we just did there for Jared is that ball went probably 30 yards, 40 yards left because I'm having him change his grip, but it only drew like 5 yards. It just started way to the left, right? So we have that open door, closed door analogy thing we talked about. But now let's talk about where we want the ball to start, right? Let's say we're going just right at that clock. Let's say I put this out in front of us as sort of like a barrier. So we need the ball to launch on this side, right? So if we were to come back here and look at it from behind the ball, and the ball drew like, let's say 5 yards to the left, we probably would want it to start more like over there, agreed?
Yeah.
So if we have a club face that's now more closed, and we want it to start to the right of the stick, which way do we need to feel like we swing the club more? To the right or to the left? If I wanted to start more right.
Outright.
Yeah, if I wanted to hit opposite field, right? Yeah. I'm gonna do everything to have things going in this direction, right? So this isn't gonna fix everything for us, but it'd be like part of the step of how you take that left ball flight back. So if you look at this from back here with me here for a second, and like, all right, we wanna start the ball almost by those pack of trees, yep. There, and then let it draw back to the clock. So now when you set up, same thing with the grip, same alignments, but I want you looking up, once you're next to the ball, go ahead up to the ball there, and I want you feeling like you're gonna be launching it more where I'm here, right? And then this is gonna be the start of bringing that dispersion back down. So we're gonna launch it to the right of that stick. I'm gonna get your grip in there good again. Yeah, excellent, beautiful. And then right before you hit, I just want you to look here, like this is where we want it to launch. Attaboy. So grip is turned, hands forward, arms straight. Excellent job. Okay, so that probably cut it in half, would you agree? Yeah. So still a little bit of pull jolly, pretty good contact. Now we're only 15, 20 yards left instead of 40. So the swing path is part of what you would do to change your direction. If you're used to it, right? Grip being weak, face open, a little bit kind of steep over the top. Here's another little nugget for you. I think because you said we started about wanting to swing like more from inside, right? The only reason, or let me say it this way, the only way your brain's gonna do that is if you have the club face in a spot to let it, right? Like if your club face is open, even if you say it to yourself, your brain's always gonna wanna be like, swing this way. So now your brain has seen evidence, right? When you guys are practicing, give your brain evidence to do the thing you wanna do. So if you wanna swing to the right more or shallow, we just saw a bunch of balls hook left. So you have a lot of motivation to swing it out in that direction. And the same thing with the release pattern. When you come through and feel all this motion normally, how do I stop that? Well, if you were hitting it over here, over here, over here, you would naturally with your handle want to go more this way, right? You'd want to like not let it go left. But if I'm hitting it way to the right, I would want to go this way to try and fix it back left. Yeah, so it's just like stacking those things beforehand. So let's do one more where you look right at the stick and feel like you're swinging that way. Now I want you to do it without your feet being as far to the right. So the club's still pointed over there, attaboy, good. That's perfect. We're gonna have our grip on there, attaboy. Hands are forward, arm is straight. And then right before you're ready, you just look right at that stick because we're gonna try and launch it there. So it's club face first, club path second is what we're working here. Attaboy, good. Aha. And that ball flow is exactly what we want, right? Start a little bit to the right, draw a little bit to the left. So we need to do reps of this, right? Like we can make like a cool before and after for a video type of thing, but like from a practice perspective, I would still be looking like, let me hammer 30 days of, at least start each session. Left, 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 left. Then your brain will be able to like swing a little more in and out. And then you'll be able to do the handle forward. Now, the only caveat, if you guys are doing this, is I don't want you to cheat it so much with your feet. So I want it to be more club face and path. Your feet can be a little bit closed, you know? Because I mean, I've got you starting at 15 yards right at the target. So it's easy to aim too far, but I don't want your feet to get like out of control. Okay, grip is on there. That's a beautiful job with the grip. Hands are forward. So even like if we look now, go ahead and put your hands back down there again. If we kind of put a shot of him here versus like his original setup, you should be able to really see the difference in where the grip is at, the handle's more forward, the arm straight, like all of this is beautiful. Excellent job. Awesome. And then right before you hit, you're looking just to the right of the stick, feeling the path working a little bit that way. Great job. Yeah, there's our first little right miss. Okay, let's do that again. And this is part of where it's tough a little bit because we're 16 minutes in and we should be 30 days in. Like we should have 30 days of hitting this way before we start doing this. So we're just leaping ahead like that. So that'll pop in there a little bit. Same thing, grip is stronger. We're just gonna do one more like this. Watch the feet. Atta boy. Grip is strong. Excellent job. Good job with the turn there. The whole thing's gonna feel turn. Atta boy. Good job. Very good job. Excellent. Good. Awesome. Another nice ball flight there.